First, we're going to start with your quads, which is the front of your thighs. I like to do both legs for this, but you can do one at a time. And you're just going to roll. You're going to put all of your weight onto your legs, and you're going to roll from just beneath your hip bone to just above your knee. You don't want to roll right over those bony areas. It won't give you any benefit, and it could actually be pretty irritating to those areas. So just below your hip to just above your knee. You can kind of shift a little bit to each side to get the outer edges of your quad muscles. And you just want to roll nice and slowly and nice and evenly. Your hip flexors, I like to do one leg at a time for these. You're going to put the foam roller right beneath one of your hips. You're going to roll just a couple of inches back and forth. Again, you're not going right over your hip bone, but just below it in your hip crease where your tendons cross your hip crease. Nice and slow. Your IT band, which runs down the side of your thigh. This very well might be the most painful area for most of you to foam roll. And you're going to go again from just below your hip to just above your knee. And it is very important on this one to not roll over the bony areas, especially down right at your knee joint line, because that can be very, very painful and very irritating for the tendons that cross the knee joint. So you just want to roll nice and slowly. Stop and pause on any points that really feel kind of sticky, as I like to say. Over onto our back side and start foam rolling our glutes. So you're going to essentially sit right on the foam roller, prop one foot up in a figure 4 position on the other knee. You can shift a little bit to that side of the leg that is up, and you're just going to slowly roll a few inches back and forth right along that side. You can kind of roll a little bit from side to side to get your glutes from different angles. You have a lot of small muscles in there that help to rotate your hips, and those can get really, really tight. So it's important to really slowly move over this area and really try to get everything moving properly. The glutes, we're just going to move on down to the hamstrings and calves, which are the back of your thighs and then the back of your lower leg. So again, you're going to roll from just below the hip to just above your knee on the back of your thigh this time. I like to do hamstrings and calves one leg at a time instead of both legs. I find you can get a little bit more pressure that way. So right now I'm doing the hamstrings, and then I'm going to shift down to the calves. The calves aren't necessary every single time you foam roll unless you really tend to get really tight calves. I only do mine really after I run, but they're a good thing to know how to roll if you need to. Along your spine, we're starting way down at the sacrum, and here I'm just very slightly shifted onto the foam roll onto one side of my glutes. You can't really tell here because it's very, very slight, and just rolling right along the edge of the sacrum, the base of the spine, right down below your hips. I stay on this for a few seconds each side, and then you can roll right up your spine, low back muscles up to the mid back. And when you get up to your upper back, it's great to really kind of give yourself a hug to get those muscles in a little bit of a lengthened position behind your shoulder blades. And you can roll nice and slow. I tend to carry a lot of tension between my shoulder blades, and more so especially now that I'm a mom and carrying a 25-pound toddler much of the time, as she has become very clingy. So this is a really, really great one, I think, especially if you tend to carry a lot of tension up there. And you can go right down your mid-back, stop and pause on any areas that feel especially tight, and really try to keep your core nice and engaged the entire time. You have your adductors, which run along the inside of your thigh. So what you're going to do is put the foam roller down in a little bit of a diagonal facing away from you. And you're going to put your leg that you're rolling into kind of a figure 4 frog leg position, and you're going to roll right along that inner thigh from your hip down to just above your knee. This could also be pretty painful. It tends to be an area that gets very tight on people because we don't think to stretch it a whole lot. Really try to take a lot of time with this.